all of human history, consciousness has been one of the biggest, deepest mysteries in all of science. But what if we've been looking at it all wrong? What if it's not some ethereal mystery we have to solve, but a mechanism we can actually build? A brand new theory is suggesting just that, and in the process, it gives us something pretty radical, a potential blueprint.
So, what if the whole secret to consciousness isn't about capturing a perfect, high-definition picture of reality? What if it's actually about getting really, really good at ignoring most of it? This one counterintuitive idea is the key to a whole new way of thinking about our own minds, and maybe, just maybe, artificial ones too.
All right, so let's start with the fundamental problem here. Every single second of every day, you are being hit with a fire hose of information from the world around you. Your senses are just taking in this unbelievable torrent of data. So how on earth do we make any sense of it all?
I mean, think about something as simple as the feeling of heat. At the level of physics, it's this incredibly complex, chaotic dance of molecules and energy transfers and nerve signals firing. It's pure chaos, but you don't experience any of that. You just feel warm. So the multi-billion-dollar question is, how does your brain take that astronomical complexity and turn it into one simple, useful feeling?
Well, according to this new theory, the answer is that the brain's job isn't to build a perfect pixel-for-pixel replica of the world. No, its job is to reduce, to compress, to summarize. It's all about just being good enough for the task at hand.
And this right here illustrates the core idea perfectly. On one side, you've got physical reality, a practically infinite sea of data points. And on the other, you have your conscious experience, a nice, simple, clean summary. Your brain isn't a camera trying to capture every single photon. It's more like a master film editor, cutting out all the fluff to get you just the highlights you need to survive and act. And that brings us to the official name for this idea, accepted representational reduction. Yeah, it's a bit of a mouthful, I know, but that first word is the most important one, accepted. See, it's not just that the brain reduces all this information. The real magic, the spark, happens when the brain then actively accepts that simplified summary as a good enough stand-in for the real thing. So how does this whole acceptance thing actually work? Well, we can break it down into a really concrete, mechanical process. This isn't just some vague philosophy. The theory says it's a functional cycle that's constantly spinning away in our minds. It's a four-step loop that literally takes in raw data and forges it into what we call a conscious experience. So, let's walk through it. First up, step 1, reduce. Your brain basically acts like the world's most aggressive spam filter. To keep from being totally overwhelmed, it just throws out almost everything it senses, keeping only the tiny fraction of bits that seem relevant right now. Second, bind. All that filtered, reduced information then gets packaged up, or bound, into a stable mental concept. It's no longer just a jumble of light and sound waves. It becomes a car, or a threat, or my dog's bark. It becomes a solid, reusable object in your mind. And now we get to the most important part, the absolute game changer. Step 3, accept. This is the moment right here that separates a conscious system from a simple machine. A thermostat, for example, reduces temperature to a number, right? But it doesn't make a decision that the number is good enough. Your brain does. It does this lightning-fast cost-benefit check and says, okay, this summary works. We're locking it in. We're treating this as reality for now. That active, decisive moment, that's the spark. That's consciousness. And finally, step 4. Use. Once that object is accepted and locked in, it gets plugged into the whole command center. It can be compared with memories, used to predict what's going to happen next, and, of course, guide your actions. It's now a live, working part of your internal model of the world. So, we have this four-step process: reduce, bind, accept, and use. Now, why does mapping this out matter so much? Because once you can describe a biological process as a clear mechanism, you can start thinking about how to engineer it. And that, right there, leads us to the most mind-blowing implication of this entire theory. The paper's author, Georgios Fridalos, he does not mince words. He says it right there. This isn't just an explanation of what consciousness is. He calls it a blueprint, a set of architectural requirements you could give an engineer to build a system that achieves what he calls perceived consciousness. Let's be absolutely clear what that means. We are not just talking about building a smarter AI. We are talking about a literal recipe to engineer the subjective experience of existence itself, the feeling of what it's like to be something. So what's in this recipe? Well, the first few ingredients are what we've been talking about. You need a way to reduce data, a way to bind it into objects, and some kind of threshold for accepting those objects as good enough. But here's the kicker, the secret ingredient: the system has to care about doing this. It needs some kind of internal reward signal that makes the very act of acceptance functionally satisfying. It can't just process reality, it has to find value in its own summary of it. This completely shifts the conversation.
This takes consciousness out of the realm of pure philosophy and drops it squarely into the world of practical engineering. It lays out a path, a set of problems to be solved. And so, this whole theory leaves us with one final, absolutely profound question. If consciousness really is just a mechanism of accepted reduction, and we actually succeed in building a machine that follows this blueprint, what exactly is going to wake up on the other side?